Okay, so let's go ahead and get started then. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to enter them in the chat. I'll try to pause and see what I can answer along the way. If it's super pressing and you need it answered right then, which I completely understand, especially since this will be interactive, feel free to unmute yourself and you can participate that way also. But thank you for coming. It's just a quick introduction. My name is Emily. I am your PlayPosit account manager. So this webinar series is directed at for our partners. So I'm so excited to see a bunch of you here from different institutions. If you ever have any questions about PlayPosit or need a quick office hours scheduled, you can always reach me at my email, just emily@playposit.org, or you can sign up for a time to meet me using my Calendly. But a little bit about me. I am a former educator. I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, so I have an instructional design background as well. And I'm super excited and happy to work with you on any sort of brainstorming that you need. Just one last part, I'm from Chicago, new to Denver, so just a little bit about me. So today what we're going to do, this webinar is geared towards beginners, so anyone that may have heard of PlayPosit but hasn't fully had a chance to use it. This is an interactive webinar, so I asked everyone to make sure that they knew how to access PlayPosit in their LMS prior to joining, so hopefully we're all on the same page. If you need a reminder of, is there anyone that does not know how to get to PlayPosit, I'll send a quick knowledge base over. So here, let me just send that in the chat real quick if you need some help getting into your LMS. But what I'm going to do today, I'm going to give you a quick background on our platform. Then we'll dive in, we'll start creating together. I'll give you guys some quick tips and just show you where some things are in PlayPosit, so that way you can then either teach others about PlayPosit or use it in your own courses that you're designing or teaching as well. So, first thing, what is PlayPosit? What is a bulb? So it sounds like everyone that participated has at least heard or played with PlayPosit, but just so you know a little bit about our background. So an important definition that you're going to hear me say a lot throughout this webinar is the term bulb. So what is a bulb? Bulb is our term for interactive video. So this is what you create within our PlayPosit platform. You can think of this like a light bulb or like a flower bulb, just anything that helps you see what your learners are truly getting out of a lesson and how they're growing. Our platform was actually, our two co-founders are former educators also. You'll find that many of the people that you'll work with here at PlayPosit are also former educators. So this platform was truly designed by educators for educators. Everything that we do is based around what works best for education. So with that being said, we have a pedagogical background. So as I'm going through this webinar, as you're playing around with the different interactions that you'll be able to add to your lessons, you're going to see these three learner relationships present through everything. You'll see the instructor to learner relationship, because anything that you put into your bulbs, anything that you create, that's you connecting with your learner and truly understanding how they are understanding a lesson and what they're getting out of it. You're going to see the peer-to-peer relationship because some of our interactions are geared for peers interacting with each other. You'll see this in any discussion forum, in a polling survey. We have something called peer review that's coming up in the next couple of months too, where you will allow your students to truly interact with each other and learn from each other, not only from you. Last is our learner to self relationship. You'll see this present through things like learner-made bulbs or free response, where students are asking themselves what they're getting out of a lesson and showing it and teaching it to others. So anything here that we do at PlayPosit, anything down the roadmap for things that we're creating, all of these relationships are kept in mind so that learners get the most out of any lesson that they do. Something else just to note about our platform, some of our different partners integrate with different video hosts. So anytime you use a video and put that video into a bulb, that video is sitting between the video hosts and the viewers, which means that as you're adding different interactions, you're simply setting them on top. The great thing about this is that we're a modular player, so let's say you make this entire intricate, super awesome bulb, you put a lot of thought into your interactions, but then you find a video that works better for the lesson that you're doing, or you had to re-record yourself or something, you can simply just change that video and you don't have to ever start anything completely from scratch. All right, I'm just going to show you this, a little bit of this video. This just is going to show you some of the things that you can do with PlayPosit, as well as how it looks for the instructor. We're not going to go through all of it because it's a little bit lengthy, but just to give you some ideas on how you can use PlayPosit in any of your courses. Okay, so you can start by adding things like learning objectives. You can embezzle these learning objectives by adding different videos or diagrams or pictures. You can tell your students to access their student notes throughout a lesson. In my next webinar, we'll dive into things that you can do with your learning objectives. But here we saw an example of what hotspots were right here really quick, as well as some other interactions. Again, you can customize PlayPosit. You can add those images, diagrams, videos, whatever is going to enhance your student learning, you can add that. Okay, and if there's something that you can't add but you want to add, talk to me and we can see where we can fit that in. But anyway, that's a little bit of what you can do. I'm going to fast forward a little bit to what the experience is like for an instructor. So the student has reached the end of their bulb, their grades have synced, and now it's the instructor point of view. So the instructor is going to go ahead and monitor this bulb that they've linked in their LMS. When they go in, they can see all of their students. They can see how the students interacted with each one of the interactions, how they answered it. They can quickly assign points, especially for those interactions that are not auto-graded. I'll talk about that shortly. Great thing about this is once you go through everything, we also actually have a speed grade mode that I'll hopefully be able to show you a little bit later if we have time. But the best thing about this is you can just press this button, it'll sync directly to your LMS. Okay, so it saves you so much time. On top of that, you can also export the data, and it gives you even more detailed analytics. So we know that that you guys care about those analytics, so we want to give you as much to work with as possible. All right, moving on. So you guys have a little preview background of what PlayPosit is. You can use PlayPosit in a variety of different ways. You can use it for review activities, for any pre-work or homework activities, for any work that's completely asynchronous. If you teach a course that is solely online, please use PlayPosit. When I think about my online courses, I would have loved having this sort of accountability and interactions with my instructors that I never fully got to know. You can use it for learner-created work and just to observe what your students are observing too. All right, and just a little bit more potential brainstorming for you guys. Courses that might benefit from PlayPosit are those large format courses, any highly technical courses, or any courses that have high attrition rates, okay? Through using PlayPosit, you are truly able to engage your learners, figure out what is not making sense for them, and take your learning to that next step, or take your teaching to the next step, rather. Okay, so we are going to start building a bulb. So this is where you guys are going to make sure that you're inside your LMS, make sure you're in PlayPosit, and I will talk through things. I'll also be showing you where to go for certain items. If you need me to slow down, please just tell me to slow down. This is geared for beginners, so I want to make sure that everyone feels like this is going at a good pace. So I am going to do this through Canvas right now, which I know many of you use, but this is, it'll look the same for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and enter PlayPosit by creating an assignment. Okay. All right, so as normal, you're going to title your assignment how you need to. Okay. And we're going to head down to the external tool. So something you might notice is that there are a couple different ways to access PlayPosit. One of them is through the rich text editor. If you click on that, you're going to get a giant orange note that tells you that grade export is not supported for this type of launch. That means that it's not going to connect to your gradebook. This is optimal for any sort of like course overviews or any review sessions, just anything that you don't need those grades exported for. However, I'm sure a lot of us are going to be using PlayPosit for graded assignments. So I'm going to go through the external tool to find it, head to PlayPosit, and here is my profile once I click Enter PlayPosit. Something to note too is that you can get into PlayPosit by either pressing Enter PlayPosit or Set Bulb Link. They will both do the same thing. So we'll go ahead and enter, and here is my profile. Again, if anyone needs me to stop or you have any questions, either tell me in the chat or you can just unmute yourself too. All right, so focus for today is adding a new bulb. All right, so once we are in the designer, this is where magic happens. So again, this page is going to look different for everyone. It all depends on if you have any sort of video host integrations with us or not. So you can choose what sort of video source that you can and want to use. I simply have a URL that I'm going to use. So just the basic ones that are provided to everyone are the input URL, upload MP3, YouTube, and Vimeo. Things like upload video and record are part of a separate streaming service, so you will not have access to those. If you use YouTube or Vimeo, you can simply just search for that video right within the designer. Or if you have a URL ready like I do, you can go ahead and copy that URL and paste it. Sorry, my Zoom thing is blocking it. There we go. And paste it right into that opening. So hopefully you guys have a video to use. I'll give everyone a second to import your video, and then we'll continue. If you have any questions, please stop me too. Okay, so once you have chosen the video source that you would like to use, you're going to get to this page. Now this is where you can adjust the title. If you have a different title in mind, sometimes you might want to include your course title in it. You can also upload your own thumbnail image if you'd like. From here, you're going to click on Customize. Currently, just so you guys are aware, we're currently doing some work on how captions are generated and added into your bulbs. So this might look a little bit different in the coming days, but we are working to make it the best experience where you don't even have to worry about fetching your own captions. However, if you have your own caption files to upload, feel free to upload those in here as well. The last spot you're going to go to is the trim and crop section. So if there are certain parts of the video that you don't want included, you can crop those out. Something that you're going to see as we're going through the designer is that you can make anything in PlayPosit as basic as you'd like, or you can take it to the next step and make it even more advanced. So that's where you would go. You'll see this advanced button everywhere. Okay, I'm happy with the length of my video, so I'm just going to press done. All right, so something else that you can do in PlayPosit 3.0 is you can actually add more than one video if you'd like. So if there are a few videos that you want to include in a single bulb, you can do that. By doing that, you would just press Add Video, follow the same process, and go from there. So we're going to get, fast forward a little bit to interactions. So what you'll do to get to interactions is click on this interactions tab. Once you are here, you're going to have a couple of different ways to choose your interactions. One of those is going to be by using the template gallery, which if you click on that, go ahead and click on that, you're going to see some different sort of just quick interactions that you can insert into your bulb. Along with the captions, we're actually currently working to rework the template gallery as well. So this too might look a little bit different in the coming weeks. But in the meantime, from here you can add things like a poll question at the end of the bulb. This is for learner feedback. It gives you some information on how students have received the bulb, what you can improve, and it just gives you that connection to your student. You know that, or they know that you care. From there, you can also add a discussion forum. This will appear in the sidebar that'll last the entire bulb. Pre and post assessment, pop quiz, or you can even add one of each interactions into the entire bulb. And those would be spaced evenly throughout the bulb. So that's the template gallery, just so you guys know that's there. But let's focus on the different types of interactions that you can add. So in order to add an interaction to your bulb, there's a couple of different things that you can do. You can either play your video from the very beginning and then pause wherever you would like to add your interactions. Let's say I want it at 10 seconds. Pause. Okay, then I would just click this blue button and this interaction is going to appear at exactly 10 seconds. However, if you know for sure that you want it to be further ahead, you can actually just drag your scrub bar to whatever point you want that interaction to happen. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let's go to 20 seconds. All right, I'm going to click on Add an Interaction. So a little bit about each of our interactions, just so you guys are aware of your options. There's multiple choice. I'm sure that will be one that's commonly used. We'll dive into what that one looks like because it shows you a lot of the different functionalities that you can use within each interaction. There's check all, free response, fill in the blank, poll, discussion. So those are the question cured interactions that we have. Okay, some of these are going to be auto-graded, whereas some of them, the instructor is going to have to go back in and grade themselves. So those 3 that are going to be auto-graded, where students will receive feedback automatically upon answering, is multiple choice, check all, and fill in the blank. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about what you can do with those. Everything else, the instructor is going to have to go back in, monitor, and assign grades for. We did make that easy for you though by adding speed grade mode, so you'll see that then. Some of the other interactions that you have options to include are a pause. A pause can be used for a number of different uses. You can insert a pause to insert learning objectives. If there is something in the video that you want your learners to reflect on, insert a pause and tell them, what do you think, or think about this? How does it relate to something else? You can use pauses to add hotspots. Hotspots would be one of our more advanced features, so I'm not going to go into that today. However, if you're interested in learning more about that, they're a great way to promote branched learning, and that's where you would go to create a hotspot. As far as embed goes, that is where you're going to go if there's a certain website or even like a Google Doc or a PDF that you want to embed in your bulb, okay? And at the bottom here, we have a couple more templates as well. One, quickly, just check for understanding, which is a check all. There's learning objectives, where that's just, again, it gives you a quick template on how you can structure learning objectives, as well as word bank, which is super cool, which maybe we'll get a chance to play around with today. But to start, we're just going to start with a simple multiple choice. I'm going to show you some of the different interactions, give you a couple minutes to play around with them, and then we'll regroup and talk about them. So let's go ahead and just click on multiple choice to start. All right. Notice how when I click into that question area, this rich text editor pops up. So this just means you have even more room to customize your interactions, to add images, to insert audio. If you want to be reading the question to your learners, you can do that. If you are teaching a math or science course or engineering, whatever it is, we have a LaTeX editor where you can go in and you can add those intricate equations. I was not a math person, so a lot of this looks a little strange to me, but I'm sure they'll apply to a lot of you. From there, you can add any sort of numbered lists. any special characters. If you click on that triple dot menu, you can also add even more. So you can insert source code. If there's a video that you want to be included in your interaction, you can add a video in there. To get that source code, just so you guys know, if I go back to my YouTube clip and I press share and I click embed, that's what source code is. I just learned this recently, but that's where you can go to get that. And you can actually insert that into your interaction. So maybe I'll just do that real quick so we can see what it looks like. But anyway, you can insert that. You can format things further. You can even add tables to any part of your interaction too. So go ahead and just write up a quick question. So, and go ahead and input your answers. You can add more answer options, as many as you need. And again, feel free to customize these even further. Just play around with it for now, unless you're making an official bulb right now while we're together. But play around with it. This is your time to explore the platform, see what you can do with it, and determine if you have any questions. Okay. See if I can get that to work. Oh yes, there is the video. Cool. Okay. So once you have inputted your questions and your answers, what you're going to do next, and again, if you need me to slow down, you can press the raise your hand option or just unmute yourself or say something in the chat too. Okay, I want to make sure this is going at your pace. Okay, but for multiple choice, once you have written out all of your possible responses, you're going to choose the one that's correct by just clicking in the circle as if you were the learner. All right. So again, something you'll notice about our platform is that you can make things more advanced, more detailed, more customized, or you can just keep things simple. You can just ask a simple question, and even by doing that, you are engaging with your learners and giving them that experience where they can connect with you. But a couple things that I want to point out on this interaction is this settings here. So if you click on it, you can click on it next to any of your responses that you've added. You're going to get another drop-down menu. This is going to show you where you can add feedback. If you want to add a jump, jumps might be a little bit more advanced too. But if you want to add a jump to your bulb and make sure that your learners are getting the correct answer rather than just missing it, you can do that. You can add feedback to a certain response too. So like, let's say, are you sure? So if they answer that, that's the response that they'll get. Okay, again, even in your feedback, you can add different sort of images, diagrams, language, whatever you need to do. Okay, as far as jumps go, again, if you want to add a jump, this is just going to jump your learner back to a certain point in the video. So instead of just missing a question and getting it wrong, you can really make sure that they're learning the content and jump them back to rewatch a certain point of the video. So pretty cool. We want to make sure that everyone is truly learning. One more thing to note is this advanced button again. This is just going to allow you to customize your interactions even further. This will customize them by individual interaction. So you can decide if this specific interaction is required, if this specific interaction is going to pause video playback. If you want learners to be able to rewind, if you want to randomize answer order, or you can even allow more than one attempt on each individual interaction. Okay. All right, more customization that you can do. I'll click on Customize. And now you can adjust the placement of where this interaction will appear. So typically, you might just want them to appear in the sidebar, or if it's a super important point that you want to emphasize, or maybe you were like me and put a video in here and you want it to take up the whole screen, you can adjust that. It can be as tiny as a corner, a side of the screen, whole screen, however you want it to look. Completely up to you. If you click on Advanced, You can adjust things even further by adjusting the placement even more. You can make things transparent, which doesn't look good on this one, but I'm sure in some of your videos it'll look great. Or if you want it to be collapsible or expandable. So lots that you can customize as well. The last part of customizing your interactions, again, not totally necessary depending on what you're looking to do, but if you head over to timing by clicking on that customize button that I just pressed on, now, oh, there we go. You can adjust even more specifically the timing of where you want an interaction to appear, or if it's a durational interaction and you only want it to appear over a video for a certain amount of time, that's up to you too. Okay, so lots of different options here. All right, and just like that, you have added your first interaction. I'm going to show you a couple more, just ones that you can add quickly to make a really effective bulb for your learners. So let's go ahead and just add learning objectives. So to do that, my learning objectives would come at the beginning. I'm sure yours would too. But we'll just head back to the beginning. We'll press add an interaction at this point, and we'll go ahead and add a pause. You can also click on the learning objectives button if you'd like. Pretty much is the same exact thing. This one just has some blanks for you, some spaces for you to fill in. So I'm just going to make my own. So I click on pause. So after completing this lesson, you will be able to quickly make some, summarize, discuss with peers. Excuse me. What's one last thing they could do? Take this on a test. Okay, not very good learning objectives, but there you go. You can complete them that way. Again, in there, you can insert anything else that will help your learners to truly understand what's going on. Something that I didn't point out too is that this video icon is not going to be there for everyone. Again, video and video hosting through us is an extra add-on that your admin may or may not have opted into using. So if you were wondering about that, that's what that is. Okay. Again, with each interaction, you can adjust the placement. You can decide how it looks for your learners and go from there. All right, and just like that, we have added another interaction. I'm going to show you just a couple more that you'll want to use to make an effective bulb. The next one I'm going to show you, we'll fast forward a little bit, is a discussion forum. So as I mentioned earlier, in everything that we create, all of the interactions that you can add, it's based on the learner relationships. So by adding a discussion forum, you are giving your learners the opportunity to work together and learn from each other. So you'll head to interactions and you can click on discussion. This is where you pose your question. Okay. Once you pose your question, again, you can click on advanced. You can decide those specific settings for that interaction. So that's completely up to you. Something else to note too is that with discussion forums, you can choose to let them last throughout the entire bulb if you'd like. You can choose to just let it appear for certain topics. You can choose to let it appear for certain amounts of time if you'd like. Again, everything is completely up to you. So however you want to structure that. With discussion forums too, you as the instructor or person that's deploying this bulb, you'll be able to moderate everything. You'll be able to go in and delete any learner comments that are just not necessary. But again, it gives learners a great opportunity to work together and learn from each other. All right, and the last interaction that I'm going to have, because it can be super simple to just make sure your learners are engaged, is I'm going to go ahead and add some learner feedback at the end, because it's important for learners to know that their instructor cares about their experience. It'll help them to feel more connected to you and just make it feel like their voices are heard in this. So to do that, sorry, I didn't talk through that, but we're going to go ahead and click on Expand Template Gallery. For just a quick learner feedback poll, I'm just going to click on learner feedback up here. Of course, if you want to just make your own completely, you can always just create a poll interaction also from our interaction menu. Okay, so learner feedback is going to appear at the very end. So even though it's a template, I can click on it and I can change anything in here that I want to change. So let's see what I want my responses to be. Okay. All right, so I added my answer options. Again, you can add feedback if you'd like. Like, let's say you, your learner answers, I lost interest. Maybe you want to add a quick survey as your feedback option, just to gauge what made your student lose interest. You can do that kind of thing. But again, you can adjust any of those settings if it's required, whatever you need to do, okay, and customize it to however you want it to look. With the learner feedback, it actually attaches a free response question to it also. So if you don't want to add a survey, you can just say, explain why you answered that. Okay, and then that gives you the opportunity to learn from your students and what did not work for them or what worked from them. Okay. So one thing that I actually forgot to point out to you all was as you were going through your interactions and scrolling through all of the different ones that you have added, you'll see that when I hover over them, you can adjust those different parts of it. So you can just adjust where it's placed, what kind of interaction, what it says, the timing, but you'll also see this triple dot menu over here. When you click on it, this is where you would go to assign points. So that's completely up to you if things are worth points or if they're not, and you can choose those values from there. So I'm going to give you guys a chance about a couple minutes to just add another interaction on your own, okay? So add whatever it is that you like. If there's something that caught your eye, I'm going to go ahead and add the word bank interaction template. That's pretty cool. It gives you a template that's ready to go where you can insert different blanks and have this sort of interaction. So feel free, take the next few minutes to just add your own without me talking over you. I'm going to go ahead and add one also, and we'll touch base in 2 minutes. And if anyone has any questions, now would be a good time to ask. Blinking on let's June. Oops.
Emily?
Okay, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and regroup real quick. So hopefully you had a chance to add a couple more interactions. The next thing you're going to do is head over to the review tab. All right, 1 second. Okay, so once you head over to the review tab, this is where you can adjust the title, add any learning objectives just for your own reference. You can add tags to organize your bulbs that you're creating. You can create your own. It's a great tool just for course organization. From there, you can also toggle on any privacy settings. So however you want your bulb to have playback, this will apply to the entire bulb. And from there, you can adjust your privacy settings as well. This is something that's going to look different for everyone also, because it depends on how your institution admin has adjusted your privacy settings. But if you have the option to adjust any of those, you can do that there. Okay, from there, you can preview your bulb so you can see how the interactions occurred. Okay, so you can play it. Just a couple of things to note about this part when you're previewing is that you're previewing as an instructor, so you're going to see where each of the interactions are going to happen. You can click and fast forward to them. However, your learners will not be able to do that, okay? So if I click continue, let's keep going. You'll see this little book icon at the bottom. If you click on that, that's where learners can go for their review sheet so they can see every interaction that they've answered. Again, won't be able to skip ahead. This is just instructor view, but they'll be able to see everything that they've interacted with, head to those interactions, see their score that they received on everything. So it's a super useful tool. This is also where you can go to add any notes. Okay, so students can, while they're watching the bulb, they can take their own notes. These notes are saved and they're time-stamped also. So they can go back and access these if they're reviewing. And from there, they can even export those notes and download them to their device too. Great thing about this is that instructors will see the notes also. And there's the transcript as well, which my captions are not working right now. Again, we're working on that. It'll be fixed very soon. Okay, so from there, you can interact with that however you'd like and preview your bulb. So those are just some basics of building your bulb. Once you've decided it's ready, you'll just press save. It'll save, it'll tell you that you can return to your LMS, and then you can choose to link that bulb to your assignment in whatever LMS you are using. There's going to be 3 different learner experiences that you can use. There's self-paced, which is just our asynchronous learning environment. There's broadcast, which eliminates the need for clickers, and learners can be doing the bulb all together. And there's also learner-made bulbs, which have a little bit of a different process, but I'll be covering those in a later webinar if you are interested in those. Okay, we'll just go with self-paced, we'll link it, and now you can link your assignment, publish it, and you'll see this page that lets you know that your assignment has been linked. Okay, this is where you'll go to monitor. You'll see a breakdown of all of the analytics from your bulb, okay? And you can even have the opportunity to quickly grade all. You'll see all of your learners' responses and be able to quickly assign them point values. Okay, from there, you'll just press sync grades. Go back, sync grades, and this will tie directly into your LMS gradebook. So let's go ahead. I'm going to head back to my presentation real quick, and that just wraps up our first webinar. I'm going to send you guys this survey. I would really appreciate if you guys could just fill it out. I only have a few questions on there, but please fill this out. It'll just give me some feedback on what you got out of this webinar, what changes I can make to it in the future. So please fill that out. I would really appreciate it. All right, I'll give you guys another minute or so to finish filling out your feedback survey, and then we'll just quickly wrap up our first webinar here. Okay, you guys, so I'll let you wrap up your surveys, but just to wrap up, because I know some of you have other things to get to, it's a busy time of the year. But just again, my name's Emily. I'm your account manager here. I am here to answer any of your questions, no matter how silly you might think it is. So feel free to always reach out to me if you have a quick idea that you want to brainstorm about, or just are not sure how to incorporate PlayPosit or certain features into your course, email me about that too, or even set up a meeting. And yes, I will be emailing you, all of you, the recording, as well as a couple extra resources that will help you as you continue to use PlayPosit. And thank you all so much for coming. If you have any more questions, feel free to stay a little bit longer. I'll be on for a little bit. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.